Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
After reviewing the CCTV footage from Dr. Larry Schoenberg on Saddlestone Court, it would not take police long to start putting the pieces together. But this case was far from over. With the combination of listening into Aiden Fucci's conversation with his parents that night, and also after reviewing the footage at Crystal Smith's home and residence, they would quickly find out that Aiden Fucci had in fact been the primary suspect for unaliving Tristyn Bailey. But that would not be the only thing they found. The police would do more investigation over by the creek where Tristyn Bailey's body was found, and they would actually find something thrown inside the creek. And that would be a buck army knife with a wooden and brass handle. And upon further investigation of this particular knife, they had found that the tip of this knife had actually been broken off. This would be very important as they would do an investigation from the autopsy of Tristyn Bailey, and the fragment of metal that was found embedded in her skull would actually match the broken piece of this knife. Now, because they had caught Crystal Smith tampering with evidence, they would quickly then charge Aiden Fucci with second-degree murder. But the police had theorized that they did not believe Aiden Fucci had acted alone. And it is around this time that they had believed that Trey Absher may have been more involved with this crime than he had laid on. But the police would get a phone call from a very unlikely source on May 2nd, 2021. And that would be, of course, 15-year-old girlfriend of Aiden Fucci, Zofie Bauman. And what she would tell investigators would turn this case completely upside down. For starters, Zofie would tell the police that Aiden did not have the picture-perfect or best childhood. She would tell the police that, according to Aiden, that his father would at times hit him, and both his father and his mother would often berate and degrade Aiden and put him down, mostly telling him things that he was worthless and that he was just nothing but a disappointment to the family. On top of that, she would also tell the police that Aiden would often tell her that he did not like it when he got angry. The police would ask Zofie what he would do when he would get angry, and Zofie would tell the police that she never saw him get angry, but Aiden would tell her that he would just get mad and throw things and just act out for no reason. The police would then ask Zofie if there was ever a time where he had lost his temper, and this is around the time that Zofie would tell the police that there was one incident that they went to the South Amenity Center to the Food Truck Fridays that was very popular within that residential area. She would tell police that Aiden was on the way to go get a vape from another kid from school, and it was under her understanding that Aiden was supposed to buy this vape, but instead of buying the vape, he would just take it. The boy would then in turn try to hit Aiden, and Aiden would lose his temper and beat the kid up. Zofie would then tell the police that they didn't have a lot of friends, as Trey Absher, Aiden Fucci, and herself were kind of like this three best friend clique. And Zofie would tell the police that not only was she dating Aiden, but she was best friends with Aiden, and that she was best friends with Trey Absher. She would go into detail and would say that the three kids would hang out almost every single day, and that there would be other people from the outside of their clique coming and hanging out, but for the most part, it was just the three of them. It is around this time that Zofie started talking about her and Aiden's dark sense of humor. She said there would be times where not only would Aiden Fucci talk about having a fantasy of unaliving people, but he would also take one of his knives out and pretend to actually stab her. And there would be other times that he would sneak up from behind her and take his knife and pretend to slice her throat. But she would say that she knew that he was just joking, as even if he would accidentally elbow her in the side, he would feel completely horrible and would actually get upset and be apologizing over and over. Which is one of the many reasons why Zolfi Bauman just couldn't believe what happened. The police would then show Zolfi a picture of the knife with the wooden and brass handle, and she would say, yeah, that's Aiden's knife. She would go into more details and say that Aiden Fucci had two specific knives, both that were given to him by his father, Jason. One would actually be a black knife that would have an orange skull on it that he would call Picker because it had a serrated edge. And the other one would be the Buck Army knife that he would call Poker. Zolfi would not be the only one to confirm that that was being Aiden Fucci's knife. Trey Absher, his best friend, would actually confirm that that was in fact the knife that he carried around a lot. And back to Aiden's fantasies of wanting to unalive people, Zolfi Bauman would not be the only one that would tell the police about that being a fantasy of Aiden. Being that it was Aiden's best friend, Trey Absher, he would also confirm and say that Aiden was always talking about wanting to unalive someone. But neither Zolfi or Trey would take it seriously, as it just did not fit his personality, and they just thought that he was just acting out as a way of just looking for attention. No one really took him seriously. The only one that did really believe that Aiden Fucci had unalived Tristyn Bailey was, of course, Trey Absher, and he would say that even at thinking that Aiden Fucci would do such a thing, he never thought that he would stab her 114 times. Trey Absher would tell the police that he had thought that it was possible that him and Tristyn had gotten into a fight and he strangled her and she had unalived by asphyxiation. But when he would realize that she was actually stabbed 114 times, it would completely make him nauseous and sick to his stomach. But this would not be the only thing that Zolfi Bauman would tell the police on that day. She would tell investigators that Aiden Fucci loved to draw and would draw her multiple pictures, much like this one. And a lot of the drawings would have their dark sense of humor. There is one picture that she would offer to hand to the police that would be a picture of himself, and it would have words around it like worthless, you need to unalive yourself, and so on. Zolfi would tell the police that Aiden often struggled with self-harm and thoughts of unaliving himself. And when he wasn't thinking of unaliving himself, he was also trying to think of different ways of unaliving people. Zolfi would also tell the police that was one particular afternoon when they were on the roof of her parents' house prior to the murder, that he would tell Zolfi that if someone had became unalive, that he had done it and it had been planned out. He would go into detail and say that his plan was to basically walk down the reservoir area and find some person randomly walking, drag them into the woods, and stab them to death. But Zolfi would tell the police when Aiden made this revelation that she didn't really believe it, as this was something that Aiden Fucci had said a lot, but no one took him seriously. And as I'd said before, most of his friends would just think that he had just been looking for attention or was just saying something to get a rise out of people. It's around this time that the police realized that this was not just some crime of passion, but had been planned out. It should also be noted on the interview with Zolfi Bauman that right before she would end it, she would reveal to the police that there was a moment that her and Aiden had gotten into a fight, and Aiden would try to cheat on her with Tristyn Bailey. But it is said that nothing really happened from that. Leading up to the plea hearing, Aiden Fucci's lawyer was trying to paint Aiden as a kid that was really a good kid. But what the lawyer was trying to paint in the courtroom and how Aiden was acting inside a prison painted two completely different stories.